We're in the final month of 2024, but we've actually got a surprisingly full slate of new PS5 releases, so strap in as I break down 9 of the biggest games that you should look out for on PS5 in December. Warhammer 40k Darktide got its surprise PS5 announcement quite recently, and I'm very excited for this one. Unlike Space Marine 2, this is a first-person shooter, where teams of 4 will dive into the depths of Tertium to face off against hordes of enemies and save the city from chaos. Darktide lets you create your own character physically, but also from a gameplay perspective, with unique traits and skills to use, and of course, different weapons to choose from. I've actually played a little bit of this game on PC, and it's got quite a nice mix of intense action and phenomenal world building. So if you're looking for a crazy co-op action experience, Darktide is the one to look out for in December, and it's also getting a PS5 Pro enhanced version. A big hitter for PSVR 2 is Skydance's Behemoth. Skydance is the team behind the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners VR franchise, but this time it's switching out walkers and revolvers for high fantasy bow and sword gameplay. Thankfully, it's also shortening its game titles after The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. I mean, whose idea was that? Anyway, the first thing that you're going to notice from the gameplay you're watching today is that it's very fluid with its movement, using grapples to close the distance between enemies, throwing weapons with one hand and catching them in the other. I don't know how well all of this will transfer to the actual gameplay experience, but colour me intrigued. In this game, you play as Ren, a lone hunter embarking on a dangerous quest to save the rot-cursed kingdom of the Forsaken Lands. It's an original story, although very reminiscent of a game from PlayStation's past, because the only way to save the land is by slaying the towering behemoths. We know Skydance can make a fantastic VR game, so hopefully it continues that streak with Behemoth. If you love Final Fantasy, then perhaps you'll enjoy Fantasian Neo Dimension. From the proclaimed father of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi, this original RPG was released on mobile back in 2021, but now we have a reworked and enhanced version, let's say, coming to PS5 this month with English and Japanese voiceovers, an additional difficulty option, and 4K visuals. Interestingly, the game uses handcrafted dioramas, which have been digitally scanned back into the game, giving it a really unique art style. In addition, legendary composer Nobuo Uematsu cooked up a killer score for the base game, but you can actually opt for older Final Fantasy tracks for your battle soundtrack instead of just those from Fantasian Neo Dimension. Basically, it sounds like it could be the ultimate kinda cozy RPG with a tinge of nostalgia thrown in there for long-time fans of the genre. Infinity Nikki describes itself as the coziest open world game. It's the 5th installment in the Nikki series, which blends exploration with dressing up basically. Adventuring across the different nations of Miraland, you'll encounter whimsical creatures and cool characters, all while on a quest to collect as many stunning outfits as you can. Now, the outfits themselves actually do offer up magical abilities, some of which tie into your ability to explore. So if you want to explore every nook and cranny of Miraland, you're gonna need all the outfits that you can find. The cozy part of all of this is that Infinity Nikki is just a chill game. You explore, you dress up, you take in the sights. A chill game for a chill gamer. Marvel Rivals is finally set to properly come out this month after its beta earlier this year. This is an Overwatch-like hero shooter where you play as some of Earth's mightiest heroes and villains, of course, with a wide variety of Marvel characters to play as, from Iron Man to Magneto, with more heroes set to come in future seasons too. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I was not a fan of this game when I played it, especially considering that it really does not hide what game inspired it, but a lot of you seem to be really excited about Marvel Rivals, and because of that, I'm excited for you. This is a free-to-play game as well, so you can get your full squad readied up for some superhero showdowns. Path of Exile 2 is the free-to-play dungeon crawler akin to Diablo 4 that's actually dropping into early access this month. It's an action RPG set in Rayclast, a land now at the whims of corruption, with the dead rising, monsters mutating, and madness spreading across the land. You know, your usual dark fantasy type beat. There will be 6 different character classes to choose from, with more on the way as the game progresses, but of course you can also expect gems to activate activate devastating powers, an advanced equipment and gear system, and plenty of endgame to dig into, so there's ways to customize your play experience and reasons to replay. Diablo 4 was really my first exposure to an ARPG like it, and I had and sometimes have a lot of fun with the game whenever I decide to jump back into it, so I'm quite keen to check out Path of Exile 2. A remaster for not just one, but two games with Legacy of Kain, Souls Reaver 1 and 2. This one is coming to both generations, landing around the 25th anniversary of the original game, and in it you play as a wraith, risen centuries after your deadly betrayal, now on the hunt for revenge. You'll take the fight to your former vampire brethren using claws, telekinetic powers, and a wraith blade, growing ever stronger as you devour their souls. You can also shift between two different realms, which ties into the gameplay puzzles, the exploration, and even the combat. Of course, on top of the content of the game itself, this is receiving a visual glow up, and I think it still captures those old school vibes. Now, speaking of old school vibes, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is a retro co-op beat-em-up where you play as the somersaulting, colourful ninjas in what is essentially a 90s arcade game. If you liked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge game, it looks to be a very similar vibe in my opinion. You're going to be fighting some of the most iconic Power Ranger foes, with the game also calling back to iconic arcade titles like Galaxy Force, Afterburner, Space Harrier, and Outrun. It's hoping to keep things fresh and very nostalgic for those that spent a pretty token or two at the arcades. Last up, we have what is easily the game I'm most looking forward to in December, Alien Rogue Incursion. It's another big PSVR 2 release for this month, thrusting players into a world of salivating xenomorphs. With an original story, you'll be inching your way through a blood-speckled outpost with the M41 pulse rifle in one hand and a pulsating motion tracker in the other. Crash landing on a planet in search of a former squad mate, ex-colonial marine Zula Hendricks and her synthetic partner David 01 will venture to the heart of the Pardon Station. Of course, in typical Alien fashion, you'll be uncovering sinister tests and facing off against bloodthirsty Xenos. My only worry about this one is that Survios, the developer, has to this point only really made smaller scale VR games, so this is quite a step up, but from everything that I've seen or read so far about this one, I'm totally on board for it. So those are 9 of the biggest games heading to PlayStation 5 in December of 2024. Let me know which of these games you plan to pick up down in the comments below, including any I may have missed in this video. But as always, I really do appreciate you watching the video. If you did enjoy it, leave a like, and even better, subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content. But until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.